good boy, you're coming up already. Here's the way. Here we go. We're looking to see if we have connection. We're rolling. We're getting warmed up for Coffee with Casper. There's the Casper. We're on a YouTube channel. That's good. Let's see if we're up on Facebook. Not yet. Here we go. We're waiting for Facebook. Hopefully we don't have to switch around. Hope we don't lose you, YouTube people. Facebook had its issues yesterday. Casper, down a second. Okay, good boy. Facebook had its issues, and we don't know whether my app caught up with them. Yes, we do have ignition. Yay, yay, yay. Wonderful. We're gathering for Coffee with Casper. Isn't that cool? We're on YouTube live. We're on Facebook live. Casper's right here. You all got to see him already. We'll get him back up at the top of the bottom of the hour here. Welcome, welcome from wherever you are. Let me know where you're watching from today. We're glad you're here. Beloved light workers, how wonderful, how wonderful. We are live with Coffee with Casper. Just 20 minutes of inspiration and connection. Let me know where you are. I don't see your comments yet. We're looking forward to finding out who's with us this morning. There we go. There's good morning from Arizona. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you this morning. Whoop, okay. Very good. We are live. Good morning from Palm Desert area. Wonderful, wonderful. We'll be out there in the fall, a bunch of spiritual living people. Big convention out there in January. That's not the fall, I guess that's the dawn of the new week, the new year already, huh? There you go. Good morning. We're glad to see you. Welcome to Coffee with Casper. We're about a minute away from gonging ourselves in here. Fun things to chat about this morning as our life is unfolding in deeper levels of awareness and connectivity and belonging. That's all such good stuff. Good morning from wherever you are. We're live with Coffee with Casper. It's 8:30 in the morning, and here we go. Casper, come on over here. Casper, come on back up. Come on back up. Come on. Come on. There's a boy. There's Casper. We say good morning to you. Wherever you are in the world, we're glad to see you this morning. You get in the shot there. You got to see there that facey dog. There's that facey dog. Okay. All righty. Thank you. We'll see you a little later. Okay. Okay. All right. Bye for now. Good morning. We are glad you're here. It's live with Coffee with Casper. 8:30 on Tuesdays in the Pacific time. Could be evening time wherever you are. We're always glad to have our Elizabeth from Norway. Looking forward to more friends from overseas. And our friend Dilap from Sri Lanka. So many people from all over catching up with us today. Well, we are glad you are here. And let us begin. All right. Let me know where you're at. I can see your comments on Facebook. We seem to be broadcasting just fine. There we go. Ola from Honolulu. Aloha. Ola. Aloha from Honolulu. Good to see you this morning, and good to see you. All righty. Here we go. Let's all take a breath in. Here we go. Let out that sound. One more time. A big breath in. That sound. And now let that breath flow into your heart center. And we're just gathering from people all over the world for this 20 minutes to be together to find out how we're connected, how we can bring more light into the world. This is Coffee with Casper. Our intention is to touch base with light workers and then ask you as light workers to share the good news from wherever you are. Good morning from Hollywood. We're glad to see everybody this morning. Well, I gotta tell you, I had the opportunity yesterday. One of my grandchildren turned 15. Oh my goodness! And we went to celebrate to the brand new stadium, the multi-billion-dollar stadium called SoFi Stadium that they built here in Los Angeles. And it is an extraordinary work of art. It's an extraordinary achievement in technology. It's an extraordinary achievement in presenting theater. Virtually all the seats in the whole stadium have good views of everything. Plus, this world's biggest television screen is suspended above, bigger than a blimp, above all of the people. And we were at a game which features, for those of you who are watching from other countries, American football, featured a team called the now the Las Vegas Raiders, and now the Los Angeles Chargers. Used to be the San Diego Chargers. And that team, the Las Vegas Raiders, is really known for sort of an ardent fanaticism about their team and how much noise they can make. And we happen to be sitting on the visitor side, which would have been the Raiders' side. And the sound level and the level of passion, and of course sometimes we step into our passion and we lose track of behavior that would keep us in the center of our being. So that's really what I want to talk about today, is we're in a time of such sensitivity and such shift in the human condition. And again, what we talk about here on Coffee with Casper is that we are looking at a world that is moving steadily toward a critical mass awareness of the unity of all life. So good morning from North Carolina. Nice to see you this morning. That critical mass awareness will create, once critical mass of humanity, we already know some 9 billion people on the planet, once critical mass is aware of the interconnectedness of all things, because when we're in our little bodysuit here, we came from the light, we put on a coat of skins, it says in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, we put on a coat of skins and we shall return to the light. And when we are here in this particular bodysuit, or as what the Master Teacher Jesus would have said, in my Father's house there are many mansions, meaning many forms of expression, many ways to embody. And when we're here as a human being embodied on this planet, we have a sense of separation, of I am here and you are there. And instead of seeing beyond the surface into the place where we are all beating with the same heartbeat, that life force in me is the same life force in every human being on the planet. That which beats our hearts is the life force itself, and that life force is the same life force, regardless of race, color, creed, nationality, religion, ways of being, belief system. That which beats the heart, that which is the life force, is the same life force in all living things. And once we become aware of that, then we can use our conscious intelligence to begin. Hello from Boise, good morning to see you. Good morning from Eugene, Oregon, good to see you this morning. We can use our conscious awareness to inquire into it. Remember the great line, which is profound, which is the finite cannot absorb the infinite. It is the infinite that already encompasses the finite. So when we find ourselves apparently finite inside this bodysuit, we need to realize that it is not ours to grasp the infinite. It is ours to attune with the infinite, to align with the infinite, and to be an avenue through which that infinite, which is its impulsion is love, pure love. It gave to itself because it loves itself. Therefore, it gave you into the world because the universe loves you. And what we need to do is learn how to tap into that love and bring it forth. So, as I was falling to sleep last night after the big evening out with the family and hundreds of thousands of other souls, I was, of course, thinking about what we would talk about this morning as I was trying to sleep. I did get to sleep, but I was working on sleeping. And when I woke up to do my meditation early this morning, I heard a line that my old friend and teacher, Dr. William Hart, used to share in his letters and notes to people. And the line was, remember that in all things, it's guaranteed not to rip, ravel, nor tear, but in all things to reveal the loving hand of the infinite. It's guaranteed not to rip, ravel, or tear, but in all things reveal the loving hand of the infinite. Now, you and I know, if we have a body, that we've probably been ripped or raveled or torn along the way. We also may have noticed in our journey that as we've gone through those experiences of being ripped or raveled or torn, that a healing follows it. That somehow the body is always moving toward wholeness. The body is always seeking to heal. If you cut yourself, somebody mentioned a cut here a few weeks ago. What we see is every day the body is healing. It's moving toward wholeness. So what was ripped is now restored. But now if we go up a level, up to the level of our soul awareness, what we know is, and when we go up a level, that the soul of our being, that eternal nature of our divine selves, does not get ripped nor raveled. That ripping and raveling is a movement of cosmic law in us in order to guide us back into the truth of who and what we are. So what we often talk about, and I have shared this with you before, is one of the great symbols of the soul is what has been called the Star of David, which before that was known as the Seal of Solomon. If you can see that, that's just a triangle, yes? It's a triangle facing up. Now, if I draw another triangle and face it down, what we get is that symbol. Now, that's an ancient, what we call ancient geometry that's been around for a long, long time. And it's not really, although we as a culture tend to assign it to the Jewish tradition, it's a symbol. The sacred geometry of that is way before any traditions began to identify with it. But what we see is, if this is the nature of the soul, yes, that's the nature of the soul. We've talked about this before. We want to keep it simple, right? That the soul then is connected to the body by means of always being with it. And when we talk about guaranteed not to rip, ravel, or tear, what we know is that the body can rip, ravel, or tear, but it's being restored by this soul nature of ourselves, which is never ripped, nor raveled, nor torn. It is always whole, complete, and perfect. And as Meister Eckhart said, this upward-facing triangle is gazing at the glory of God. So above soul would be this let's see if I can do it this way for you. This I am that I am, or equal to the one, or energy, or source, or God, right? So above the soul is this I am. So the soul is gazing up at this I am in awe and wonder all of the time. And then it's translating all of that infinite self, because our finite self, it's too big for the finite mind to get its arms around or to grasp. So it's constantly directing us into the paths of this high self of ourselves, coming directly out of the one, born into infinity and eternity, and then brought into this particular suit, right? This is what is always whole, complete, and perfect. And it's the triangle facing down is always taking this awesome view and understanding of itself as one with the one, and translating it and directing us into what we would call the paths of perfect right action. And of course, what is really wonderful is if we are in tune enough to ask for that guidance. We're asking to be led into those paths which reveal the glory of our true and eternal nature. Daily, I am asking to be led into the paths that reveal the glory of our true and eternal nature. And that true and eternal nature is guaranteed not to rip, ravel, or tear, but in all things to reveal the loving hand of the infinite. And so this is the kind of poetry that we need to invite into our world all of the time. Because what happens is that this high self, knowing who and what you are, is always trying to guide you back to the wholeness of ourselves. Now down here at the personal level, right down here at the personal level, we make choices. And some that are completely without connection to our soul. And of course, that's not what we want. We want always to be connected to our soul. So because of that, there is this thing called spiritual law. And the spiritual law spells out to our to our personal self the range in which we can move in order to live and to grow. If we move outside of this range, we will get popped back. We will get usually struck in some way and pop back in to the line. To give you an example of this, we were at the game last night, and about just the row behind us, maybe 4 or 5 seats over, there was a fan of the other team who was obviously had been drinking and was not really in tune with his own nature very well, and continued to yell, to be filled with obscenities, to interact with the people around him in a way that was hostile. And this behavior continued. And so eventually somebody from security came, and they started to talk to him, and then they gave him a warning, and then the behavior continued, and then they gave him another warning, and the behavior continued, and then they escorted he and his friend, his girlfriend, out of the stadium. Meaning he had come to experience joy, to experience a passion of his, which was the team and the game. And inside of that, he got outside of the behaviors that his own soul knew were right for him. And because he continued in those behaviors, he got whacked, in this case by security, and taken away from the thing that he loved. And so you and I are always what I call working within the pyramid of our own possibilities. Our soul knows what we have come here to do, that we have come in the light, as the light, with the light, to be an avenue through which the light moves into expression. And since the light itself is always seeking a greater expression, that's what's happening to you and me. The light within us is always seeking a greater expression. So we're living in a time of sensitivity. People are frightened. We're beginning to need to protect our children. We're our animals. We've managed to protect ourselves. We've managed to move through the pandemic to a place where it's manageable, and now there's new threats, and therefore new sensitivities in the field. And so we need to be in tune. We need to, according to the will of the infinite, not me, we need to be in tune with what it is our soul is seeking to bring us in each and every day. And each and every day it's seeking to advance us in the upward, forward spiral of evolution. It's seeking to advance us into a higher vista and a higher understanding of ourselves. So you and I need to do 2 things. We need to stay inside the triangle of our own purpose, which means we need to continue to keep that very simple advice, to ask, what is mine to do? How am I to be in any given circumstance and situation? And then, am I listening to that guidance as it's guiding me forward in new ways of expression, in new ways of understanding, in new ways of being in tune with our own nature, and therefore catching the love of the divine in us and as us and through us, and allowing that love to move out into those who touch our experience. And this requires that we stay in tune. So today's message is very simple. Continue to be mindful. Continue to be in your prayers and meditation. Continue to know that you are guaranteed safe, that you will come out of this experience, if you are in tuning yourself with the infinite, you will come out of your lifetime enriched and empowered and grateful for all of the life that you get to live, for every sacred breath that you get to take. You've been watching Coffee with Casper. We're here every week. We'll be back next week at this same time, and of course available 24 hours on YouTube and Facebook anytime you want to see them. And we encourage you, if you need a breath of inspiration, if you need to be reminded, catch an episode, share an episode, tell people about Coffee with Casper, because our mission is to unite light workers around the world, and therefore light the lighthouse with more and more candles, so that the light of humanity shines so bright that we transpose all challenges into opportunities and bring forth more love into the world. Who you are is something magnificent. What you are doing is something magnificent. Pay attention to yourself, your I am presence. Pay attention to this loving presence which guarantees your safety and guarantees the victory in your understanding of who and what you are in the cosmos, not only in this lifetime, but in all lifetimes. You are an immortal spiritual being, superior to your mind, to your body, and to your experience, and you get the opportunity to rise up into that wonderful nature of your true self, that which is the Christ, the Atman, the Buddha, the high self, the neshama of your own being, and bring that glory into expression. Thank you for bringing your light into the world, and until we meet again, we invite you to go in the light, as the light, and with the light. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way. Casper, come up, let's say goodbye. Come on. Come on, say goodbye. It's coming up. Attaboy. We'll see you next week on Coffee with Casper.